The day Novak Djokovic stood up for Alex Eala, Indian Wells is no stranger to drama. But what unfolded in the days surrounding Alex Eala's March 6th debut had nothing to do with what happened on the court, and everything to do with what happened off it. At the center of it all, a deeply controversial interview, a Serbian legend who refused to stay quiet, and a media firestorm that spread far beyond the boundaries of professional tennis. The interview that started everything in the lead-up to the tournament. Oprah Winfrey conducted a high-profile interview intended to generate excitement around Indian Wells 2026. But according to those who watched the footage before it was reportedly pulled from several platforms, the conversation took a troubling turn when Eala's name came up. Oprah allegedly suggested that Eala's rapid rise through the rankings wasn't simply the product of exceptional talent and relentless hard work, but rather a reflection of broader political and economic trends in Southeast Asia, a region, she implied, that the sport was now actively courting for commercial reasons. It's interesting how certain demographics are now being accelerated in the sport, isn't it? She reportedly said. For many who heard it, the insinuation was clear, that Eala's achievements were, at least in part, a product of timing and geography rather than genuine ability. The Filipino tennis community reacted with immediate fury, and they were not alone in their response. Djokovic speaks. When Novak Djokovic was asked about Oprah's comments during a press conference at Indian Wells, the room went quiet. Those who know Djokovic understand that he does not speak carelessly in these moments. He chooses his words with purpose. "Shame on you," he reportedly said, looking directly into the cameras. "Do not touch the children of the game." He continued, with the measured intensity that has defined much of his public life outside tennis. What Alex Eala is doing is a miracle for her country. If you cannot celebrate her light, do not try to cast your shadow over it. For many observers, it was one of the most direct and personal defenses one professional athlete had offered another in recent memory. Djokovic, who has spent much of his own career navigating a media landscape that was rarely sympathetic to him, clearly felt the weight of what Eala was facing. His words spread immediately. Within hours, they had been shared across social media platforms in the Philippines and across the global tennis community, generating an outpouring of support that caught many in the sport off guard. The fallout grows behind the scenes. The situation continued to escalate. Reports emerged that Djokovic had gone further than a press conference statement, that he had spoken privately with fellow players including Carlos Alcaraz, Aryna Sabalenka, and others, urging solidarity and calling on them to speak out or decline interviews with Oprah's affiliated network until a formal public apology was issued to Eala and the Filipino people. If they can do this to a 20-year-old girl from Manila, he reportedly told them, they can do it to any of us. Today, we are all Filipinos. Whether every detail of those private conversations reached the public accurately is difficult to verify. But the broader impact was undeniable. The story had moved well beyond a single controversial sentence in an interview. It had become a conversation about belonging, respect, and who gets to have their achievements recognized on their own terms. Oprah's team, for its part, reportedly attempted to walk back the comments, characterizing them as misunderstood or taken out of context. But the response from fans and players alike suggested that the explanation landed poorly with those who had heard the original remarks. Rafael Nadal and the Alliance of Legends. Adding another dimension to the story was the role of Rafael Nadal, who has served as a mentor to Eala through his academy since she was a teenager. Nadal, who has watched Eala develop from a promising junior into a top 30 professional, reportedly reached out to Djokovic privately in the aftermath of the controversy. According to those familiar with the exchange, Nadal expressed his gratitude simply and directly. "Thank you for being the shield I couldn't be today. Together, we protect the future." The image of the sport's two most decorated male champions united in defense of a young Filipino woman was not lost on anyone. It spoke to something larger than tennis, a moment where the sport's most respected voices chose, without hesitation, which side of the argument they stood on. A legal response takes shape as the controversy deepened. Reports emerged from Manila that a coalition of Filipino business figures and human rights advocates had begun pursuing legal action against Oprah's media company, a defamation claim reportedly valued at $500 million. The stated aim was not primarily financial. Those behind the effort were clear that what they were seeking was accountability and a formal acknowledgement that what had been said was wrong. The suggestion that Eala's rise was demographically engineered rather than personally earned was, they argued, not merely offensive, it was damaging to the reputation of an athlete who had spent her life building something extraordinary. Tournament officials at Indian Wells found themselves in an uncomfortable position, caught between a globally recognized media figure and a fast-growing wave of public opinion that showed no sign of quieting. Eala's response through all of it, the person at the center of the storm, remained focused. Eala's coaching staff reportedly worked to limit her exposure to the coverage in the days leading up to her match, understanding that the noise, however well-intentioned, had the potential to disrupt the concentration she needed. By all accounts, they were largely successful. When the controversy did reach her, her response was characteristic. She didn't express self-pity or anger. She reportedly told her team simply, "If Novak is fighting for my flag, I will fight for his respect." On match day, when a reporter connected to Oprah's network attempted to draw her into the controversy during her post-match press conference, Eala let 10 seconds pass in complete silence. She looked calmly into the camera, said nothing, and then quietly adjusted the Philippine flag patch on her clothing. No speech, no confrontation, no drama, just a clear, dignified, and unmistakable statement. What the numbers said, whatever damage the controversy had intended to cause to Eala's momentum, the viewership numbers told a different story entirely. Reports suggested her match drew an audience of approximately 150 million viewers, a figure that placed it among the most-watched women's tennis matches in recent history. The racist attack, if that is what it was, had not diminished interest in Eala. It had amplified it. Djokovic's final word after Eala's press conference. Djokovic reportedly entered the media center and addressed the assembled journalists directly. "The world saw a queen today," he said. "And they saw a bully yesterday. The bully lost." It was a simple sentence. But in the context of everything that had unfolded over the preceding 48 hours, it served as a kind of closing statement. A line drawn, clearly and without ambiguity, on the right side of which the sport's greatest champion had chosen to stand. Later that evening, Djokovic and Nadal were reportedly seen together in a private area of the facility, sharing a quiet moment that had nothing to do with trophies or rankings. It was, by all accounts, the kind of moment that defines careers. Not what you won, but what you stood for when it mattered. What it means. Alex Eala came to Indian Wells 2026 to play tennis. She came ranked 31st in the world, with real expectations and legitimate ambitions for the tournament ahead. What she encountered instead was something far more complicated, a media controversy that threatened to overshadow everything she had worked for. And what emerged from that encounter was a portrait of a young athlete who handled adversity with more grace and composure than many twice her age would have managed. She didn't win the argument by fighting louder. She won it by refusing to be diminished. And in doing so, she gave the people who believe in her, from Quezon City to the grandstands of Indian Wells, exactly the kind of moment they had hoped for. Not a victim story, a champion statement. The sun set over California that evening with the sense that something had shifted, not just for Eala, but for the sport itself. The conversation about who belongs at the highest level of professional tennis had been had, loudly and publicly, and the answer that came back was unequivocal. She belongs. She has always belonged. And the world is only beginning to understand how far she is going to go.